in the soft twilight of a workshop filled with unfinished paintings and sketches, our journey through the life of Leonardo da Vinci begins. The archetype of the Renaissance man whose legacy transcends time and art. This ASMR journey will take us through the whispers of his story, from the hills of Vinci to the palaces of Milan and France, where his innovative spirit left an indelible mark. Imagine the fields of Tuscany, the murmur of the wind among the trees, the young Leonardo exploring, observing. From an early age, his fascination with nature and his thirst for knowledge set him apart. A curious child, drawing on the ground, captivated by the flight of birds and the flow of water. Vibrant Florence welcomes him, and in Andrea del Verrocchio's workshop, Leonardo immerses himself in art. Here, Leonardo not only perfects his technique in painting and sculpture, but also his interest in engineering and anatomy. In the bowels of Florence, under the high ceilings of Andrea del Verrocchio's workshop, a young Leonardo finds not just a mentor, but a universe of possibilities. This space, vibrant with the buzz of creativity, was a hive of artists, craftsmen, and thinkers, each immersed in their craft, from painting and sculpture to metallurgy and beyond. One of the most emblematic anecdotes of this period is Leonardo's contribution to the Baptism of Christ, painted by Verrocchio and his workshop. Legend has it that Leonardo was tasked with painting one of the angels. His interpretation was so sublime, so full of grace and mastery, that Verrocchio, upon seeing it, was overwhelmed by his apprentice's skill. It is said that, moved by a mix of pride and resignation, Verrocchio vowed never to touch the brush again, acknowledging that his pupil had surpassed him. Although this story may be embellished by time, it reflects the extraordinary ability and the effect that Leonardo had on those around him from an early age. Within the walls of his own workshop, after leaving the nest of Verrocchio's learning, Leonardo da Vinci plunges into a world of unprecedented research. This space becomes a laboratory of ideas, where his restless mind knows no limits, exploring everything from the mysteries of the human body to the confines of engineering and physics. Here, in this sanctuary of knowledge, Leonardo combines his passion for art with an insatiable thirst for knowledge, giving life to some of the most revolutionary inventions and studies of his time. Leonardo ventures into deep dissections of human bodies, a practice controversial and, in many ways, forbidden in his time. His anatomical investigations, conducted in the darkness of night, reveal an understanding of the human body that surpasses his contemporaries. It is said that Leonardo discovered blood circulation long before William Harvey formally described it. His detailed anatomical drawings, from muscles and bones to the complex labyrinth of the heart and blood vessels, were not only works of art, but also scientific treatises that challenged the medical notions of his time. Fascinated by the flight of birds, Leonardo dedicates a considerable part of his study to aerodynamics. Among his numerous sketches is the design of an ornithopter, a flying machine that mimics the flapping of a bird. Although it was never built in his lifetime, the design demonstrates his profound understanding of the principles of flight. Legend has it that Leonardo even conducted experiments with scale models, launching them from the hills near Florence, watching with hope and frustration as gravity claimed each attempt. Leonardo's curiosity leads him to design bridges, weapons, and siege machinery. His design for a portable bridge, intended to be quickly assembled and disassembled on the battlefield, shows his ingenuity in civil engineering. Another notable invention is the armored car, a precursor to the modern tank. Equipped with cannons and powered by internal gears. Although many of these designs were too advanced for his time, his vision anticipates the future of military and civil engineering. The movement of water captures Leonardo's imagination, leading him to study rivers, tides, and flows. He designs canal systems to improve navigation and irrigation, applying his observations in projects to drain swamps and redirect rivers. An ambitious project sought to divert the course of the Arno River to make Florence a maritime power, though it never materialized. His studies on water vortexes not only have practical implications, but also reflect his search for universal patterns in nature. Leonardo's workshop becomes a crucible where art meets science, producing knowledge and inventions that are centuries ahead of their time. Although many of his ideas remained on paper, his ability to imagine the future and explore the complexity of the natural and human world leaves an indelible legacy. In this space of unlimited creativity, Leonardo da Vinci not only establishes himself as one of the greatest artists of all time, but also as a visionary whose work continues to inspire and astonish the world. His workshop, filled with sketches, models, and instruments, is a testament to a mind that never rested, always in search of uncovering the universe's secrets. Andrea del Verrocchio, more than a master, was a formative influence in Leonardo's life. Verrocchio, known for his perfectionism and diversity of talents, instilled in Leonardo not only technique, but also the importance of detailed observation and tireless study. Under his tutelage, Leonardo adopted an insatiable curiosity that would lead him to explore fields as varied as engineering, anatomy, optics, and hydrodynamics. The workshop was also a ground for creative rivalries. Among Leonardo's contemporaries were figures who would also leave an indelible mark on the Renaissance, such as Sandro Botticelli and Pietro Perugino. This atmosphere of friendly competition fostered constant self-improvement and the exchange of ideas, creating a breeding ground for innovation. Although many of Leonardo's early works have been attributed to Verrocchio, his influence and contribution are undeniable. During his time in the workshop, Leonardo began to receive his commissions, marking the beginning of his independent career. Every piece he touched, from small sculptures to detailed panels, was imbued with his nascent genius, promising the magnificence that was to come. Thus, in the bustling workshop of Verrocchio, Leonardo da Vinci not only found his voice as an artist, but also ignited the spark of his insatiable curiosity. This era not only forged his technique, but also prepared him for the vast legacy he would eventually leave, a legacy that would encompass art, science, and far beyond what his master and his world could have imagined. As his reputation grew, Leonardo was not limited to painting. His curiosity led him to secretly dissect cadavers, seeking to unravel the mysteries of the human body. Inspired by the birds over Florence, Leonardo dreamed of human flight. Among his sketches, we find designs for flying machines, centuries ahead of his time. Leonardo was also captivated by the movement of water, studying it with an intensity that bordered on obsession. In the court of Ludovico Sforza, Leonardo reaches new heights. Imagine the splendor of the Last Supper, its perfection and emotion captured in the reverent silence of Santa Maria delle Grazie. Leonardo's final years are spent in Rome and France, where he continues working until his death in 1519. His legacy, however, is eternal. The final images of the video show the Vitruvian Man, the Mona Lisa, and his numerous notebooks, accompanied by a narration that reflects on his tireless quest for knowledge and his profound impact on art and science. During his stay in Milan, at the service of Ludovico Sforza, known as Il Moro, Leonardo da Vinci lived one of the most illustrative episodes of both his genius and the complexities of working for such a powerful and demanding patron. One of the most famous anecdotes of his time in Milan involves the ambitious project of an equestrian statue in honor of Francesco Sforza, Ludovico's father. Ludovico wanted to commemorate his father with the largest equestrian statue the world had ever seen, and Leonardo, with his usual ambition, accepted the challenge. Leonardo spent years studying the anatomy of horses, as well as the metallurgical techniques needed to cast a statue of such magnitude. He designed a clay model over 7 meters high, which impressed all who saw it. However, the fate of the statue was marked by the political and military tensions of the time. When France invaded Italy, the bronze resources that had been accumulated to cast the statue were used to make cannons, and the great clay model that had been the admiration of Milan was destroyed by French archers who used the figure as a target during their occupation of the city. The destruction of his work left Leonardo deeply frustrated, a feeling that added to the complexity of his relationship with Ludovico Sforza. Although the Duke had brought him to Milan and provided him with a generous patronage, the demands and political instability made Leonardo's work for Ludovico challenging. This episode reflects not only the volatile character of the era, with its constant wars and political intrigues, but also the vulnerability of artistic work to mundane circumstances. The story of the unrealized equestrian statue became a legend, symbolizing both the grandeur of Leonardo's vision and the tragic fate of many of his most ambitious works. This episode reflects not only the volatile character of the era, with its constant wars and political intrigues, but also the vulnerability of artistic work to mundane circumstances. The story of the unrealized equestrian statue became a legend, symbolizing both the grandeur of Leonardo's vision and the tragic fate of many of his most ambitious works. Despite these setbacks, Leonardo's stay in Milan was one of the most productive and creative periods of his life. There, he painted some of his most famous works, including The Last Supper, and continued his studies and inventions in a variety of fields. However, the story of the unrealized equestrian statue remains a powerful reminder of what could have been and the fragility of dreams, even for a genius like Leonardo da Vinci. As the stars guided Leonardo on his eternal journey of discovery, may his story illuminate our paths. A man who saw the universe in a grain of sand, whose life was a canvas of infinite possibilities.